Hey guys, it's Halsey Schider with the Helicopter Podcast, and hey, it's another European Rotors edition. We are live from the show floor. It's actually, we're coming up on after hours here, right?
You can hear the music.
We can hear the music. Actually, there was a live saxophone just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
It was great, but I was doing a podcast, so there's going to be some music in the background.
Yeah.
Joining me on this European special is Fredrik. He's part of the European Helicopter Association. Essentially, you're the chairman.
I am the chairman.
You're like the guy.
I'm the guy.
And so he's the guy behind this incredible show. And I've been so lucky to come to European Rotors now twice.
Excellent.
I was here in Madrid last year.
Yeah.
And, of course, now in Amsterdam. I think for Americans, it's kind of extra special because we get to come to Europe. I love coming to Europe.
Good.
I love exploring. I've never been to Amsterdam.
Oh, really?
So just coming here, experiencing the culture. I love French fries. They love French fries here. So I've been very into that. Going around and just all that. And then, of course, coming to the show.
Yeah.
I heard 234 exhibitors, 18 static displays.
Yes.
And I think you said it yesterday that you were expecting record attendance.
Yes.
What was day one? Did that happen?
I think we have preliminary numbers now, and I don't want to give you exact because it's not in my possession, but it looks like we are breaking records.
Awesome.
So the show is growing every year, and this is normal. I mean, we started a couple of years ago, just before the pandemic. Then we had a break during the pandemic, and then we started again 21. And here we are, and we have increased size and also attraction, I think, every year. And this is what we want to continue with.
Now, this has to be quite a bear to put together. How much preparation? Does this take an entire year?
More than a year.
More than a year to put this entire show together.
You know, we're selling now floor space to the next year.
Okay.
So you can go there and book your booth. And so that's next year, more or less same week, I think, in Cologne, in Köln,
Germany. Very excited for that.
And I hear that we're selling record number of spaces and booth there as well.
Excellent.
So it's really going well. So that's also a sign that what we're doing is good. It's attractive, and it's good for the industry, which is why we do it.
100%. I was fortunate enough to talk with VAI this morning and learn more about what they do. I've been a helicopter guy for about 18 years, but I wasn't actually super familiar with what VAI was doing, so it was great to talk with them. I'm just curious to hear a little bit more about European Helicopter Association, what your mission is other than putting the show on, your background.
Absolutely.
And kind of, the purpose of what you guys are doing and how you're helping move the industry here in Europe.
Yeah, so if I start with myself, so I'm Fredrik Kämpfe, German surname, but Swedish guy.
Okay.
Live in Stockholm, and my daytime job is to be the Director of Industry Affairs at the Swedish Aviation Industry Group.
Okay.
And that's an association for the entire Swedish aviation industry. So the whole food chain sector.
Wow.
So we have the helicopter companies, we have airlines, we have airports, maintenance companies, airports, the whole food chain, even catering companies and flight schools. And they are members of the association I represent. And we do, let's say, their aeropolitical work and trying to help them to achieve their goals, and that we have good regulations and the right attention from politicians, and also work with the Swedish authorities. We work together with partners outside of Sweden, and the association that I'm working for is a member of European Helicopter Association.
Okay.
So that's how it also became mid last year that someone asked me, would you like to become the chairman of European Helicopter Association? Because you have to be a member to.
Okay, sure.
And then, I was not really, I'm a fixed-wing private pilot.
Okay.
And mainly been working with fixed wing. But we have helicopter companies. I think over 12 or 13 of Swedish helicopter operators in the association. So we've been doing quite a lot of work together, but the association work was a bit further away from me. So when I received that request or that question, I said, yeah, why not? For me, it's an opportunity to make a difference also there, not only on the Swedish soil, but also a bit more for Europe. And lift the interest for European helicopter industry. So I said yes, and they voted me in Madrid last year. So I'm sitting now on a 2-year term and enjoying it very much. And setting up a show like this is a multi-annual process, and we have a fantastic team, and we are supported by Vertical Aviation International as a service provider. So they help us a lot. So basically we work with them every day to set up the show. And now we're selling space for the next year. We are already planning 2 years ahead and 3 years ahead and 4 years ahead. Because we also want to grow the show and make it more attractive. So, of course, we're planning ahead.
Sure.
And EASA, the European Helicopter Association, it's a vehicle for the members to focus their issues, we help them to achieve their goals, which is logical for an association like that, industry association. And basically, we are an association of associations. So, for example, I said that the Swedish Aviation Industry Group is a member of EASA.
Sure.
So mainly, we have National Aviation or Helicopter Association members of EASA. But in addition, we have the OEMs as direct members.
Sure.
And we also have in the statutes that if you come from a European country where you don't have a National Helicopter Association, you can be direct member. So we have also direct members, usually operators, but it could be maintenance companies, etc., that are also members. So someone asked me about how many members do we have? Well, actually, it's more interesting to see how big reach we have with these associations of associations.
Of course.
So we way over 500 companies around Europe
incredible.
Are directly or indirectly members of EASA. So we cover the whole field. And, obviously, we are setting up the show. So that's a very important part of our work. But this year we have also changed a bit the organizational form. So we have created a company that we in EASA fully own. And that company is European Rotors.
Okay.
And that company then is responsible for the show, while EASA will be able to focus more on the membership issues.
Of course, sure.
So it's going to be a very interesting start of the new year. So I said to some friends here that I see 2025 as the start of something new, because we have a new professional European Rotors company that will run the show. And we can focus, of course, direct the company, obviously, because we own them. But then we can also focus more on the helicopter issues for our members. And that's, of course, why we are there.
Yeah, so that's the purpose.
That's the purpose.
This is the fun part.
Well, this is also part of the purpose, because we want to bring, and I think it's the only at least helicopter show in the world that brings together not only the industry and associations, but also we co-own the brand European Rotors with EASA. So we have a direct link to the European regulator. And we this way we can sort of get on the floor and combine the industrial issues with regulatory issues on the spot, on the set. And I think this is quite unique and something we really want to continue to explore.
It's really cool. It seems like it would be an effective way to really work hand in hand with the regulator.
Well, yeah,
to have that relationship
as close as you should be, because it's still a regulator. But obviously, as I said also in a welcoming speech the other day, that we are in this together. I mean, we have to have a strong and active and positively orientated regulator if we will want to become successful and grow as an industry. At the same time as it's a regulator, so they've also checked that we're doing things right.
Of course.
But this kind of connecting show that we have, it's a connecting factor, and I think we should continue to explore how we can use that to do better work for our members, which again is our purpose.
That's the reason.
And then we have excellent cooperation with our friends from the US, from VAI, as a service provider. But I usually say that we have different relationships there. We have the service provision relationship, but we are also two strong, important associations that have, let's say, a political relationship as well.
Of course.
And that's very important for our industry, which is international. So we have a lot of work together outside the show, of course.
Of course, it's combining forces and helping the industry.
Absolutely.
On a global aspect. Yeah. I'm fairly familiar with some of the hot topics and things that VAI is doing in the United States. Obviously, I'm a citizen of the United States. It's kind of more of my privy.
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear on the European side, what are some of the sticking points right now that you guys are advocating for with EASA?
Yeah.
What are some of the big projects that you guys are working with the regulators to maybe make life a little bit easier or better for the operators?
Thank you to our sponsor, Vertical Aviation International. Are you ready for the largest vertical aviation show in the world? Verticon, formerly HAI Heli Expo, is coming to Dallas in March. With over 15,000 professionals and 600 companies in attendance, this is an event you don't want to miss. If you're interested in exhibiting, contact sales at verticalavi.org. That's sales at verticalavi.org. See you at Verticon.
Yeah. So, first of all, just for the viewers or listeners, we have a technical director at EHA who is the direct counterpart to and involved in the EASA world in all the technical groups, etc. So if you want to go down to really details of what he has in his work program, you go to Ollie.
Okay.
But from a bit higher level, and this was also in my sort of inauguration speech. We are witnessing a bit of an avalanche of regulations, which puts burdens, sometimes unnecessary burdens, and extra administrative burdens on the industry. At the same time as many of our members, and that's the life of helicopter industry, that many are small companies, SMEs, small medium enterprises, that have a very important function for the society very often, and we need to get our head around how we can sort of minimize or at least get down the administrative burden without, of course, affecting the level of safety. That's untouchable, but to do things in a smarter way. Smarter regulation for a very specific industry. We are not airlines. We are not airports. We cannot have standardized rules every time.
Sure.
We need to be able to walk around in the envelope.
Be some flexibility.
And this is the flexibility we don't feel today. And the EASA system, I worked there for 14 years, by the way, so I'm ex-EASA.
So you intimately know.
Yes, I do.
Which is important because that experience probably allows you to really understand that organization.
Yeah, I know them well.
Know that what to say and how to say it, and
even personally, I mean, many of the old colleagues are here on the floor from EASA today. But, EASA system is not like the U.S. system. The FAA is all over the place in the U.S., but EASA is not all over the place in Europe, because when it comes to operational supervision, then the national aviation authorities are responsible, for example. So EASA will issue the TC for the helicopter and will set the rules, but the actual detailed work on vis-a-vis an operator will be by the local authority in Sweden, for example. And there we see that although we want to have a common playing field, as we say, with equal competition in that system, that we see variations. So the Austrian authority might not exactly do what the Swedish or the French, etc. And obviously these are problems that our industry is advocating for us, or voicing that we need to fix this. We need to have one set of rules and also one set of applying the rules. So that's another level of, let's say, what we need to work with. But obviously with our membership, having a lot of national helicopter association in EHA, I see we can work on different levels. So EHA will be then on the higher level, working with the political side, the regulatory side, especially with EASA. And then underneath that, you have the national aviation or helicopter aviation authorities and the associations working with the national authorities. So we need to sort of distribute the work between us,
of course,
and then we can have more effect and get more of the, let's say, the intentions and wishes of the industry in the system. And that is one of the bigger things right now, to talk about regulations in a new way. At the same time, and that's maybe the second thing, that we know that we need to become more sustainable. We have to work every day, and I know that the member companies are doing that, to see how we can increase our sustainability as an industry, but also helping the society to become more sustainable. So I was yesterday moderating the sustainability session here at the conference. And, when you start to get your head around that, it's not just about tailpipe emissions, but we really, and our members really help the society to become more sustainable with the operations that our members are performing. If it's checking and fixing power lines, for example, I mean, we are electrifying more and more. So we need to have good, solid, high power lines. And it's our members, they are there. They're doing this with, the voltage is on, high voltage, and they do this live. It's amazing to see.
Yeah, it's wild.
And by doing that, we allow the society to electrify. And also on the, let's say, the electrical food chain, it's our members that service the windmills out at sea and also on land. And we can do that much more efficiently than if you go with the boat to maintain these things out offshore. And you save money, you save emissions, you save time, and so what we try to see is that sustainability is a 360 exercise. So we look at everything, and it was fascinating to hear about the companies, some of the member companies, but also some others in the session, to explain how they view sustainability and what they work with. And it's really a full 360. Yeah, everything that you can do, they do.
It's crazy.
So we have regulatory, let's say, lessening the regulatory burden, coming to terms with increased sustainability. And the third leg that at least I see as a big issue is to invite and also understand what new technology will do for us.
Sure.
And I say do for us because I think it's going to be part of, more and more a part of our industry. But at the same time, it should grow. It has to grow in a natural way into the system. And there's a lot of talk about eVTOLs, of course, and drones, and even bigger electrified machines. And certainly they will come, but it will be incremental at start because of simply the technology, and battery capacity has to increase tremendously to really replace anything big here. So for many years, it's going to be complementary, helping our members to do even more effective work, maybe with drones doing the first sightings of someone lost on the mountain, and then you go with a helicopter and rescue
them. It's like a supplement.
Exactly. And at the same time, I think it also can create new markets, because the drone, or eventually the eVTOL, would maybe be able to, because of less noise, if that's the case, and no pollution, will be able to fly in areas where we will not be able to fly a helicopter. So maybe they can complement and add business to the industry. So that's another interesting thing that we talk about a lot in Sweden, actually, to see how can this create new markets.
It definitely will, for sure.
It will, yeah. It will take time, and I think we should not rush in any way. And the other side of that, let's say, new technology coin is that we see that the regulators, because of the societal pressure and the political pressure, are really focusing on this. And they might do some small alleviations here and there and lessen the burden to make this industry grow.
Make it quicker.
And we want to, of course, see that anything good that comes in that field, we and our members should, of course, benefit from that as well.
It should be the
same.
And that's a very hot topic right now, and it's a big discussion on the FAA side as well. Certification is difficult worldwide right now.
Yeah,
it's a EASA problem. It's an FAA problem, and I think a part of that is because of all these new technologies. And I'm a proponent for the new technologies. I'm all about innovation and the world moving forward. And I think you're right. We just have to figure out how the regulators work that in. How do associations like yours and VAI advocate for regulators to have bigger budgets, to hire more people that can help, win the eVTOL space, and so we can all play on the same playground and get things done.
Yeah.
Because right now it's kind of this awkward. I think we're in a no man's land right now of uncomfortability of. There's the size, like you said, societal pressure to to keep pushing forward, but you don't want to under-regulate. No. And if they're going to have this same type of, easier process, then yeah, we should also talk about easier steps for, existing OEMs and helicopters that are existing to this day, and speeding up certification processes, especially if it's things that can enhance safety.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes it drives me nuts. Like there's a new design or something that comes up that has to go through flight testing and get certified, and it's literally can save lives.
Yeah.
But it takes 2.5 years to get through the red tape of that. And so, I'm a very big advocate and hopefully encouraging regulators to hopefully find the resources to allow
which is
the
a
innovation.
big issue. Resources
it's huge.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's not. It's a global problem, and I don't think it's a little bit of a scary problem for me, because I don't think the world understands how much of the world economy is driven by helicopters. Right? You're talking about here in the operations of your guys' offshore wind farms and your utility. So much of our economy is driven
for sure
by the men and women here that operate these aircraft.
Thank you to our sponsor, Robinson Helicopter Company, the choice for unrivaled safety and reliability, so you can accomplish any mission with confidence. For more than half a century, Robinson has been at the forefront of the helicopter industry. From the R-22 to the R-66 turbine, Robinson makes helicopters accessible so more people can accomplish more missions. Climb higher. For additional information, visit www.robinsonheli.com.
And that's one of the, I think, the biggest tasks that we have as an association, or any association representing industry members, is to be that sort of voice to media, to society, to politicians, to explain and show what this industry is actually doing for the society. And I just had an interview this morning with the Swedish Aviation magazine, and I think the title would be maybe something like the unknown part of aviation, or the invisible, because it's simply not so easy for politicians or even for the authorities to see the impact that our industry has on the society.
100% agree.
So my reasoning, and I think hopefully it will be in as a quote in the article, is that without the helicopter industry, we basically cannot run the society.
And I was talking about it today. I think helicopters have a PR problem, personally.
Yeah.
Last couple of years, there's been some high-profile accidents. Of course, in 2020 with Kobe Bryant, that was horrific and it's a horrible tragedy. But it doesn't help helicopters, and it's affecting insurance, and it's affecting general aviation and civil aviation operations within the United States. Right, airports are closing. You can't fly a helicopter to this airport past 6 p.m. And to me, I think that associations like your organization here in Europe and VI in the States, it has to be a big initiative to increase the overall PR.
Absolutely.
Because here it's easy, right? We're all together. We love helicopters. We get it.
Yeah.
We're biased, but we're familiar with it. And so I'm glad to hear that you guys are taking that step.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so important.
I want to bring, and if I can do anything good for the industry, it's maybe that, And this is also how we work with, for example, the big issue of sustainability for the total system in Sweden. And we try to advocate in a very honest way, only with facts. This is how the situation is. This is the emissions that we cause. These are the measures we take and want to take if you support us. And then we will end up here. And what we have to add, I think, from the rotorcraft industry is also the element of societal value. Because, as I also said in another speech, is that we have to keep a pace which does not affect negatively the actual business, the task that we have to do for society. So we have to make sure that the politicians, if it's Brussels or Stockholm or Berlin or wherever, have an understanding that if they go too fast, if they have too much ambition, it might affect negatively the society.
Big time.
Yeah. So this is the balance. We also, as an association, can maybe we can institute reports we can put this kind of information in the hands of the politicians. Maybe also make news in the magazines, turn to media, etc., to get this kind of attention. I can mention that in Sweden there was a fantastic TV program a couple of years ago with one of our member companies, and it was I think 10 episodes on one of the Swedish TV channels that displayed everything that they did, everything from taking that newly wedded couple up to the top of the mountain, or even having the ceremony at the top of the mountain.
That's cool.
But to also the rescue, the firefighting, the taking a sample test from a lake to test the quality, all these things. And I think we need to do more of that. We need to be there and explain, because this is not an easy world to explain to people.
It's very complicated.
Yeah, and it's quite invisible.
It's noisy.
Yeah.
It's, people think it pollutes. I mean, there's so many things against helicopters.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to break through.
But we have the best story to tell.
We have a great story. Something that recently happened in the United States, actually, I don't know if you were following along, but this was a good PR for helicopters, was during the hurricane.
Yeah.
And Helene, all these private owners, operators, man, they banded together. They're doing rescue missions in Robinson aircraft. They're taking personal Bell product and Airbus helicopters and saving lives, providing Starlink. To me, helicopters are an amazing tool, and it's a tool that I don't think there's an industry that it doesn't touch.
Yeah, that's true.
think that if you really were to look back at every industry, right? Even like here's a mission. I have a friend that flies a helicopter. And the purpose of it is there's been a lot of train robberies, I guess, in the United States, where there's pirates, essentially, that come and steal things from trains. So he flies over, and he's looking for train robbers, right? It's just a crazy mission, But without that, then we're having stolen goods. Products are going to be more expensive, So it's just it's important for us to be able to tell our story and tell it to the general public. This has been a wonderful show. Day 2.
It's great to have you here.
It's so fun.
Fantastic.
I love. I had a great time last year. The energy this year is special.
Oh, great
I
to
felt
hear.
it yesterday, and day 2 is kind of the test to me because day 1 you have to have energy.
Yeah.
Can you have energy day 2? And today, man, it was packed.
Oh, great.
Today was awesome,
I saw
man.
that as well.
People,
yeah.
I mean, the booth here was busy. I think I recorded, I think, 4 or 5 podcasts. Just people coming around, the music, the crowds. I think it's just. I think you guys really nailed it.
Great to hear.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
And not an easy task for a non-helicopter guy too.
I'm learning.
That's pretty incredible, actually. What has been the most?
And I have a fantastic team.
A good team, and that's important. What is something as we finish up here? First off, that you're proud of with you and your team for this specific show, and then finish up with what are you excited for the future for your organization?
This podcast is brought to you by HeliCASTS. Tired of listings that go nowhere? Exhausted by tire kickers who waste your time? Don't sell your helicopter alone. HeliCASTS handles the entire process from start to finish. So, if your helicopter has sat too long waiting for a buyer, contact the team at HeliCASTS today for your complimentary market valuation. Call 1-855-HeliCASTS, 1-855-735-5226, or email sales@helicopter.com. HeliCASTS. List it, sell it, done.
So, what I'm especially proud of is that because Europe is a place where we have different states still, although we have the EU.
Sure.
Which means that you have different jurisdictions with different laws and regulations on how to set up a thing like this. So basically, you need to establish a company in every country to have the show. And there's so much work underneath the surface to have everything cleared with the tax authorities, the various CAAs in Europe when you set up a show like this. So there's a lot of work that no one sees, but I've seen it now.
And it's not easy, I'm sure.
No, and that if you want to pick one thing, or me to pick one thing, that is very impressive. How the team together with our service provider But our team and also with the local presence here have arranged everything.
Incredible.
And finally made it happen. So that's amazing, and I salute them for that. And
They did a wonderful job.
Yeah. It went very well, and now everything is smooth. But a couple of weeks ago, still there was things happening, last minute.
Yeah,
bam, bam,
I can imagine.
And now since we are setting up the show, Germany and Köln, we have some experience, but the years after, we have to set up a company, the whole structure again and again. Of course, when we have done that to the venues, we will revisit. Then it's going to be easier.
It gets easier.
Yeah.
And this is still kind of a new thing. And now you guys are changing it up a little bit. Cologne is 2025?
Yeah, next year, Cologne.
Very excited. Never been, so I'm looking forward.
Yeah. And as the second part of the question, so what do I see, coming up? What's behind the next corner? So as I mentioned, I think that 2025, now we have set up the company to run the show, separate from EHA. So for me, 2025 is a bit like year zero again, because we sort of reset the clock. We have moved into a new, more professional structure, a more effective structure. So I think you will see much more of both the show, which will help it grow, but also more of EHA, because we will be able to focus on the membership tasks in a different way than we could before.
Than you could, yeah.
So you will see simply more of both.
Good. It's a divide and conquer.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's going to benefit the whole.
Yeah, it will. And I mean, it's cross-feeding as well.
Sure.
But, we need from EHA to be much more out there to speak on the difficult questions, the technical questions, the regulatory questions, political questions as well. So with this new setup, I think we will have a much clearer share responsibility where we still can support each other between the company and the association, but where we also have a very clear focus in the different two sides. So we have finally two solid legs to stand on as we lift into the future.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's very exciting. Thank you for having us. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Congratulations on a grand success.
Thank you.
If you have not attended European Rotors, I highly suggest it, especially if you're within the European market. There's so much resources. There's education. There's great networking. And it's just a good time. It's a great time to connect with this beautiful industry that we're all in. And just, it's incredible. I just feel lucky and fortunate to be part of it. Fredrik, thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
See ya. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you to our sponsor, Vertical Aviation International. Are you ready for the largest vertical aviation show in the world? Verticon, formerly HAI HeliExpo, is coming to Dallas in March. With over 15,000 professionals and 600 companies in attendance, this is an event you don't want to miss. If you're interested in exhibiting, contact sales at verticalavi.org. That's sales at verticalavi.org. See you at Verticon.
Thank you to our sponsor, Robinson Helicopter Company, the choice for unrivaled safety and reliability so you can accomplish any mission with confidence. For more than half a century, Robinson has been at the forefront of the helicopter industry. From the R-22 to the R-66 turbine, Robinson makes helicopters accessible so more people can accomplish more missions. Climb higher. For additional information, visit www.robinsonheli.com.
This podcast is brought to you by HeliCASTS. Tired of listings that go nowhere? Exhausted by tire kickers who waste your time? Don't sell your helicopter alone. HeliCASTS handles the entire process from start to finish. So, if your helicopter is sat too long waiting for a buyer, contact the team at HeliCASTS today for your complimentary market valuation. Call 1-855-HeliCASTS, 1-855-735-5226, or email sales@helicopter.com. HeliCASTS. List it, sell it, done.